welcome into the Treehouse. Time to leave your worries outside and join me, Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Have a big show today. Normally, I hate it when people say that because it usually fails to deliver on the promise, but today, it is true. We have something to celebrate that will happen later on. But right now, there is very, very, very important semi-breaking news, not just in the state of Texas, but in a number of states around the country. They're coming for our porn, gentlemen. They're coming for our porn. I don't remember seeing this on Fox 4.
I don't think the slogan should be, you can pry it out of my cold, dead fingers.
Man, if they ever thought people were going to get mad about guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take.
And what a coincidence, both of those things are holding something that shoots. Pornhub.
Yes.
And a multitude of other companies owning adult content websites have filed a lawsuit against the great state of Texas over a new law passed last session, which they say violates multiple constitutional amendments. The law, which will go into effect on September 1st. So if you're looking to, skirt these laws, then you better get to pounding before the 1st of September. The law
I want to see how high the numbers jump from now until September 1st. And then what the
refractory period?
Yes.
will be like after the 1st.
Yeah.
Sorry. The law would require adult websites like Pornhub to have age verifications and health warnings before users can enter the websites. The lawsuit, which is filed by Free Speech Coalition Incorporated alongside other companies, argues this law violates the First, 8th, and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. It argues that the age verification requirement is overbroad and fails strict scrutiny by employing the least effect yet most restrictive means of accomplishing the state's stated purpose of protecting minors. Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm curious about.
Yes.
Is, do these politicians, I mean, they have to realize that you are going to piss off a lot of people if all of a sudden they can't get to their porn, including some people that are very tech savvy. So if you were anywhere, if you voted yes for this bill, your browser history better be damn spotless, because otherwise all your stuff is going to get out because they're going to hack your stuff.
Yeah, your house better look a lot better than Mike's apartment.
Everybody on board the Bang bus.
That's right.
It's. I just don't know how we, as the state of Texas, that prides ourselves on being we're the Lone Star State. We're this, we're that, where everything's bigger here. Like Oklahoma is like, they've already got, like, I think they've now passed recreational. I know it's medicinal marijuana. I think we have that here now. But like Oklahoma got ahead of us.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. And Oklahoma's like, you want weed and porn? Okay. I think that's like how they're getting people to move to Oklahoma. It's like, hey, Texas, they're gonna make you say, are you 18? Oklahoma,
we don't care.
Come on up. And
we're
then
Oklahoma, where everything is indeed okay.
I love that slogan. It's like, hey, Oklahoma, we strive for mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that they snuck in. Like, it's one of those bills that they kind of snuck in the middle, like when they were trying to pass something else and nobody actually read it.
Yeah, it's probably one of those pork bills. So you had like some big spending package, and like the main title of the package, everybody was for, like, let's say education. but underneath there, like underneath in like the smaller print, there was a smaller bill, and that was this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And everyone hit, yeah, we're all on board for education. And then someone gets out the magnifying glass and they see that, hey, wait a minute. And next thing you know, half the Texas legislature is jumping up and down, hands up, going, what about me?
Yeah. So somebody's like, I can't clear this fast enough.
Yeah.
There's
What?
years
Wait,
of search history.
When you have a bunch of politicians turning to all of their staffs asking what's a cache.
Exactly.
That's what I normally pay the hookers with.
And you know what they love about those hookers? The hookers don't ID. So in addition to the age verification requirement, I mentioned the health warnings that are attached with this law. The health warnings include statements such as exposure to this content is associated with low self-esteem and body image, eating disorders, impaired brain development, and other emotional and mental illnesses. I just go back to the initial part where it says this new law would require adult content websites like Pornhub to have age verifications and health warnings before you can enter the websites, which I have to ask, how hard are you hitting it if they're telling you to take it easy?
Well, I've never watched so much that I guess the eating disorder would be, do you forget to eat? like do you just watch? you're watching so much you forgot to take a food break? Because I've never heard and I lived in California for 11 years, and people have I've met people with, God love them, all kinds of body issues or whatever, but I've never heard anybody be like, you know what, I just the anorexia started when it was just interracial couple gangbangs. That's when the bulimia started.
Yeah, it turns out porn is a gateway addiction.
Who needs Weight Watchers when you got Pornhub? There should be a calorie counter in the corner.
Yeah.
How
Who
much
needs
you
Weight
burn?
Watchers when you've got BBW watchers? But seriously, if you have to have a health law, or if you have a law requiring a health warning before you can enter a website, how vigorously are you jerking off?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, if you have to have like medical professionals at your side,
Do you like before you engage with yourself into a self-love situation, are you getting dressed and looking like a high school wrestler going in to cut weight?
I think I would agree with it like this. If like in the middle of your marathon, like a little thing just pops up and goes, hydrate. And then it
You mean like instead of clippy, it's cocky?
Yes, but just somewhere
with his really non-helpful suggestions.
Yes. just every 40 minutes or so, something just pops up and goes, Pedialyte.
It makes it sound like you'll have some medical team standing outside your door ready to rush in at halftime and give you an IV, get you pumped up for the second half.
It's like Michael Jordan when he had the flu.
Meanwhile, you're splayed out on the trainer's table, rubbing your nipples in preparation of those paddles.
Yeah. It's a whole new category now.
Yeah, give me the juice.
Yeah. We just took masturbation and made it a sport.
Teenage Dan would like to have a word with you, Trey.
He's taking the gold.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Phone number 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW. The website cookdfw.com. Give them a call for your free roof inspection to see if the summer heat has melted your roof. Let Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration come out and give it a look-see. 833-COOK-DFW or cookdfw.com. Sorry, I'm still thinking about all the legislature whispering to one another, what did we do? Speaking of...
That would be great. Just somebody across the aisle. Is yours working?
You mean the internet? No, the porn. My porn stopped working. Because the law you passed, you moron.
I can't get thick chicks. What about you? Although with the going viral on the Instagram, I did get one Australian stripper and one porn star that follow me now. So
you nailed them?
No. They just follow me on the.
Is that the new I got a porn star? Is not that you actually were with them sexually, but just that they follow you now?
Yeah, she said great sense of humor, and I was like, well, and you're
and what was your response?
You're great at what you do as well.
Hashtag blessed and in the prayer hands. Viral, Raj. Going viral does have its advantages. Congratulations.
It does.
Well, not to be outdone by the Texas legislature, a man has been arrested for driving a Power Wheels Jeep in the street while intoxicated.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I think the most surprising thing about this story is the fact that it did not happen in Florida, but instead happened in Indiana, where typically not much else happens.
Yeah, that sounds like an Indiana. That sounds like a Midwest. That sounds like a Midwest thing. Like that. Like it's like, you know, I can see that just in my head is like, you know what, you're too drunk to get in the car, and he's like, I got it. You know what I mean? Like I'll figure this out.
And he looks around, then the light bulb goes off over his head when he sees a children's toy.
Honestly, if it's from the Midwest, I would expect something more rural, like a little, maybe a tractor, a riding lawnmower, something, you know.
Yeah.
Something agricultural.
Yeah. I mean, I figure those guys are drunk anyway when they're like, I don't know, harvesting their crops. I would assume that they're like knocking back Keystone Tall Boys. I don't know why it's Keystone, but in my head it is.
No, that makes total sense. In my head, it's Bud Ice.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
But also in my head, if you're going to get pulled over for a rural DWI and you want to go super Midwest,
yeah,
the vehicle needs to be an ox plow.
Okay, now I'm gonna.
That seems almost Amish Midwest. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say like, dude,
that's kind of what I was. Yeah, kind of what I was going for.
Because I know that I know they use that in India, and I'm like, do they still do that here? like the land of mechanization? Do we still have an ox plow? That would be amazing. And to be just royally effed up on one of those would be the best. Like, you charge 2 tickets for that ride. Like that's gonna be fun.
Well, I mean, it goes back to like Trey, you mentioned the getting a DWI on a tractor. To me, that's what started the whole DWI vehicle craze, was the guy that got pulled over driving a tractor and got arrested for a DWI.
But here's, and I don't mean to interrupt you on that. The guy who did that, it was on a John Deere, and it was quote caught on tape. I met him. And hate to break the news. This is breaking news. Breaking your heart news. It was fake. He staged the whole thing. His buddy.
Seriously?
Yeah. So the guy who arrests him.
Honestly, I'm really not that surprised.
It was, it's back when, I mean, and to his credit, like was, I guess, trying to be a comic, or it was a comic. I don't know what it was, the situation was, but I met him, and he was like the first one to go like uber viral, because back then viral, they considered about 10,000 views or so.
Oh yeah,
and-
yeah. And back then you'd go viral and it was just you. There was no other distraction. There was no,
Yeah.
there was nobody else or no other video going viral concurrently. Just, I mean, it was
Yeah.
just the guy on the tractor for like 3-4 months until
Yeah.
Tayson Day started singing Chocolate Rain, and then he got it for a while.
Yeah, and so he just came up with this idea. Him and his buddy, who's the sheriff in that town, they went to high school together, and that's who he had arrest him on his John Deere or whatever it was.
So it was a stunt to launch his comedy career.
He was just doing it as a goof. The buddy that's a sheriff was kind of telling him, like, you can get arrested, like you can get a DUI in a golf cart, you can get it. And his joke was, can you get a DUI on a tractor? And the sheriff apparently was like, yes. And he's like, that would be hilarious. And so they filmed it, and it was just as a goof, and he put it out there just to see what the reaction would be, and it went into the millions of views. Like, and again, I think back then it was like 10,000 was viral, maybe 50,000, and he went into the millions. And so he was an up and coming like stand up comic, and I think he was trying to launch his career on the back of that, which is a brilliant move if you have that many people. But he let the cat out of the bag by explaining it that it was staged. And
you're right though, because what that video basically created the template that so many others still follow to this day.
Yes, correct. So he was like a pioneer in that sort, but he kind of like, I think we were at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, and they brought him in to do a spot. And he was fine, but he just kind of like turned to me at one point. We got to be like talking the whole night, and he's like explaining what happened. And but he just turned to me. He's like, man, I don't know what the F I'm doing. Like it was very sweet. It was very sweet. Like you can tell he was just kind of.
It was
like,
very Midwestern of him.
Yeah, it was, and it was like you can tell like they were like, oh, we got to sign him. We got to get him, an agency and a manager and a this and a that, and he got all of that. And he's like, man, I was just goofing with my buddy, and now I'm performing here, and he's got some jokes. He's got some stuff that's funny. And I don't know if he's still doing comedy. I never saw him again, but I'm assuming he probably still does. Maybe even like
it's also difficult though to be known for one thing and then be doing something else, because if someone comes to see you at a comedy show and you're the tractor DWI guy, they kind of expect a tractor, but that's really difficult to bring on stage.
Yeah, or tractor stories. I get it, but I mean, we need to clarify that law, because I used to go to for forever before I got too busy to go, which sucks. But I used to go to my fraternity golf tournaments every year.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one year where very intoxicated older alumni were driving a golf cart, and then you just saw one. If I could have recorded it, I would have. Like, one bails out on one side, one goes out the other side, and another one goes out the same side, and then it just starts heading towards the water. And you just hear somebody's like, "It's going in the drink," and I was like, and then a golf cart went into the water, and the only thing that the country club made us do was pay for the golf cart, or made them do. I had nothing to do with it, but made them.
I was kind of hoping that you were going to say that you guys were so drunk in the golf carts on a private golf course that the law came in and arrested people for DWI.
That's my question. Can they do, like, Trey, do you know, like, can they do that? Because all they did was like, you're never playing at this golf course. Like the next year, they're like, you're not coming back. Like this golf course. I think it was Onion Creek in Austin. They're like, we're done with you. Now you have to pay the $7,000 or whatever it was for the golf cart. And that was it. Like, there was no law call, there was no DUIs, there was nothing. But these guys were like, it's Trey. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's when so drunk where white people get red.
I've seen Trey in that state many times.
That's why I said, Trey, you'll understand what I said.
Oh yeah. I mean, and the truth of the matter is that there's probably, on any given Monday, on any given golf course, you could issue some DWIs, or at least some
absolutely
some public intox, because that's what golf tournaments are. And yeah, there's usually some hammered people.
Yeah, these were older, like 80s, like late 70s alumni that came through, and they were reliving the glory days, and there was a couple bottles. I know for a fact that there was a couple bottles of Crown because I was offered a shot of Crown, and this was many years ago, and so I just kind of watched, and I wasn't playing golf. And I just kind of watching, just driving around, checking on people, and then I just see this golf cart, and people are just bailing out, like the golf cart was on fire, and then you just see it go. Boop, and it was just like
You weren't playing golf. You weren't necessarily participating. You weren't drinking. You were just witnessing.
Yes, I mean, I was partaking in some very nice cold beer while on the golf course, because that's my fear, is that I've heard you can get arrested for DUI in a golf cart, and then I saw that, and I'm like, bring on the whiskey. I'm like, if they put that in the water, and nobody got arrested,
spirit, in that spirit, if you had to be pulled over for a DWI, what let me rephrase this. If you had to make the news, for getting pulled over for a DWI, what non-motorized vehicle would you want to be driving? If you have to make the news for a DWI, what non-motorized vehicle would you want to be driving?
I'm going to go with big wheel.
Big wheel?
A big wheel with the. Do you remember when they?
I had one. I had the GI Joe big wheel.
Oh, did you have did yours have the little handle that you could pull up like the brake and do the slide?
No, I didn't have that. I just had gravel to stop me.
So because of and I'm assuming because of that very reason, just so to mind, I had both versions of this. So I had the one where it's like, you stopped when nature stopped you.
Yep.
And whatever injury happened.
For me, I stopped when either I got tumped over in the gravel or I ran into the ass end of a cow.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Trey can relate to, having spent many years in Leonard, Texas.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they had the one where it was like a little orange-ish red handle where you could pull up, and that was your brake. It kind of stopped the back left tire, or if you want to call it a tire, the back left plastic round thing.
Yeah.
And you could do, like, if you timed it right and you knew what you're doing, you could do the slide. Like, that's how, like, I want to be going. Like, I want to be pedaling, just effed up, just pedaling as fast as I can. And they're like, boo. And I'm like,
pretending you're fast and furious, but in a big wheel.
Absolutely. And then they're like, you need to stop and pull over. I just want to pull up that handle and turn it and slide and be like, let's go to jail, bitches.
Trey, what about you? If you had to get pulled over for a DWI, what non-motorized vehicle would you want to be driving?
If I was going to do it, I think I'd go on like riding a donkey.
Wow, you're going to pull a Jesus. Wow. That would be one of the greatest clickbait headlines of all time. Jesus arrested for DWI.
In law enforcement, we call that the Bethlehem.
Happens every Palm Sunday. There's Jesus again. Sorting through his issues.
They gave him too much water.
You're listening to...
Actually, hang on a quick second. That actually would be the greatest all-time reply to the police officer when Jesus is asked, "You've been drinking?" And his response is, "Just water, officer."
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
It's wine, it's water. It's wine, it's water.
And the officer responds, "All right, then, if you've just been drinking water, how much water have you had?" "Just 2.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Brooks Plumbing. Their phone number, 214-368-3838. That's 214-368-3838 for any and all of your plumbing wants and needs. It's Brooks Plumbing. The website, brooksplumbingtexas.com. I'm still laughing at the Jesus being pulled over for a DWI on a donkey. Sorry, Trey being pulled over.
And Dan, what would your choice be?
What would my choice be if I had to get a DWI and make the news for driving a non-motorized vehicle?
Oh yeah, this should be good.
I'm glad you asked, because I've had some thoughts on this since you first sent me the news story about the man getting a DWI in a Power Wheel Jeep. But I think my first choice would be if I had to get a DWI while driving a non-motorized vehicle and it hits the news everywhere, Flintstone's car.
All right.
And just the officer walks up, looks down, and then I just lift the car and he sees my feet. And the officer looks at me and goes, "Still counts."
Now, do you have to when he does the field sobriety test, do you have to still walk the straight line holding a car?
No, you have to do it holding Dino and a big old rock. and especially now, imagine getting the DWI in the Flintstones car while in the drive-through getting your brontosaurus ribs. The other one I thought of would actually be pretty good would be if you get a DWI for getting arrested riding the baggage claim at the airport.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, the baggage claim's motorized, son, and you seem to be operating it, so get in the wagon.
But
and the other one, go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, they do have, and this should be interesting. Let's see what happens in the future. They do have the motorized luggage now, where you can sit on it and actually, it's like a scooter, but it's your luggage.
I have seen that. I've seen that quite a bit. And there was actually a guy. He may have gotten a DWI, or at the very least, there was an interaction with airport police. I think it was in Florida, not surprisingly.
Of course.
He was riding his luggage cart, his luggage scooter around the airport, and the airport police stopped him and said, "You got to stop that."
Yeah. When I saw that, because I saw that in Sky Mall, and I was like, that's brilliant. But I enjoyed stopping off. Like, you have to get there early for your flight. I always enjoyed stopping off and having a drink or two before getting on the flight. And then I thought, man, what a crappy way to just, you know what, this is efficient. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not like weaving through. I'm not stumbling. I'm just going to have a couple of cocktails, hop on my luggage. and just to be able to tell that story, I think would be hilarious yet shameful at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword there.
Yeah, what would you get arrested for? Going to the gate.
And I just thought of another one. Trey. If I had to get a DWI, make the news on a non-motorized vehicle, it'd be riding the handlebars of your bicycle, Trey. Because
I got the bunny pegs on the back.
Because Trey is sober, so he's not getting pulled over. I'm just being so drunk riding his handlebars that I get nailed.
But isn't he the designated driver at that point?
Yeah, but if I'm riding his handlebars, I appear to be in an operational position.
Oh, that is true. Okay. You can sit on the bar in the middle, like in between the seat and the handlebars. You can sit on that little bar and hold on to it.
I just have this mental image of this cross between Step Brothers and Titanic.
And you know what, Trey? In this version of the story, there's plenty of room on your wood. All right. Now I wish I hadn't come up with that idea. It took a turn for the worse there.
Also, Hollywood is sorry they didn't make that movie. Step Brothers, Titanic.
And people say Hollywood's out of ideas. We have
send them sober Trey.
And speaking of sober Trey, I've meant to bring this up over the last couple of episodes, but we've been doing other stupid things. So we can, if we want, just for a brief moment, step out of the realm of stupid. And we have a sort of birthday to celebrate here in the Treehouse. And that is Treys sobriety. Yay, Trey! Yay. So you posted on social media the other day. You actually have a sober birthday. Is that a common thing in the sober community? Is to have an annual
Yes.
day?
Yeah, you have they call it your belly button birthday, which is your actual birthday, and then your sober birthday.
Oh, so it's not your alcohol birthday?
No, it's the day you quit.
Oh yeah, I guess it'd be two different things.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Actually, I would imagine if you had alcohol birthdays, then that means you need to have the sober birthday.
Yeah.
This is the day I started.
Time to celebrate. But speaking of celebration, so you've now been sober 7 years, right?
That is correct.
So your sober
Amazing.
baby is now 7 years old. So how do we celebrate that? Do we get you a cake?
Yeah.
Do I send you some Tiff's treats?
You know, I will never say no to sweets, but otherwise, it's
Which, interestingly, Raj, did you know that that's a common side effect of quitting drinking?
Yes.
The mega sweet tooth? Yeah, Trey
oh my
has it.
god, it is. That was everyone told me, they're like, oh, you're. And I never ate sweets before. If you had given me the choice of never sweets or fried food, like you can eat one forever and not have any health consequences, I would have taken fried food. And then the first day I quit,
Yeah.
I would have gutted somebody for a snickerdoodle.
But now it's really awkward to watch Trey eat candy, because watching Trey eat candy looks like he's enjoying a 15-year-old scotch. So Trey, is ice cream on your sweets list, or is it just more like hard candies and things, or is it anything sweet?
It's, I mean, for the most part, anything sweet. But yeah, ice cream and cake are probably the number ones on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so that actually makes sense. Yeah. So what we can do to celebrate your 7 years of sobriety is we can have an ice cream and cake party for you.
Aw, yeah.
Sounds lovely.
And
what type-
maybe even a petting zoo with a donkey.
With two big jugs of water on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, out of curiosity, I mean, Raj has had to quit for a little bit. I quit. Have you ever thought about it?
Oh, have I ever thought about quitting drinking?
Yeah.
You know what? I have, but but my demons are still thirsty. Sad but true. Be sure to listen, like, follow, subscribe, all things Treehouse at treehouseonair.com. Social media is at Treehouse On Air. For me, at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, at Trey Trenholm1. And for Raj, at Comedian Raj. And also, tell a friend the Treehouse is open. And speaking of the Treehouse being open, we're also open for business. You can contact us, treehouseonair@gmail.com, or through any of our social media channels for advertising and sponsorship opportunities, because we like money also.
Mm-hmm.
See you next time in the Treehouse.
Yeah, absolutely.